And now we have Dems in the House looking to lock up White House officials who refuse to honor subpoenas. Oversight Committee member Jerry Conley warning that incarceration is on the table. All right, joining me now, Harmeet Dhillon, managing partner at the Dhillon Law Group and RNC committee woman for California. Great to see you, Harmeet.
Thanks,
Democrats
David.
are demanding meetings with members of the Trump administration without any lawyers present. Remember how many lawyers they provided for Hillary Clinton when she was under investigation? I mean, it really is turning into a Spanish Inquisition situation here, trying to trap people instead of figuring out what happened.
You know, sometimes it's hard to expose somebody's hypocrisy because they keep it hidden. But right here, they have their bias and their dishonesty in full view. It is Department of Justice protocol and longstanding history and tradition that if you're calling a DOJ official or somebody who worked at the DOJ to come testify about something that he did on the job, which is what they're trying to do with John Gore, who headed up the Office of Civil Rights in the DOJ at the beginning of the administration, you allow them to have a lawyer next to them for the purpose of objecting to questions that may get into attorney-client privilege, executive privilege, or other privilege. This is just, it would be frankly malpractice for the Attorney General to allow him to testify without that. And so the fact that the Congress is trying to insist that the person come and testify without the protection of counsel that he's entitled to is outrageous.
And have we forgotten, by the way, Eric Holder refusing to obey a subpoena to appear before Congress? I mean, he didn't come. He ignored the subpoena. Nothing happened to him, unless I'm mistaken. I mean, you really think that they have the nerve to try to jail Trump officials for not answering a subpoena?
Well, what's also disappointing here, David, is that they know, I hope they know, that they can't do any of these things that they're claiming they can do. I mean, the years in the 1800s, officials were jailed until, they started filing writs of mandamus. Courts said you can't do that. There's no due process. That hasn't been done in a very long time. In the very rare occasions where Congress has tried to do this in the last 30, 40 years, they've all been thrown out of court. I mean, the couple of examples are Rita Jen Rett, who was ultimately convicted of something else completely, and then Ann Gorsuch, who they pursued through a civil route, and again, they failed. And so good luck. I mean, it's all for the cameras, but they actually can't jail any of these Trump officials. It isn't happening. All
right. Let's turn to Rod Rosenstein. As I mentioned before, he's beginning to talk about what happened during the Obama administration with regard to Russia. There was a lot that was going on that they didn't talk about, that they kind of kept under the rug. In fact, I believe that they said that they were going to talk privately about the issue to Mr. Putin, rather than making a big stink because they didn't want to embarrass their friend Vlad. What do you make of this?
Well, I think many things are interesting about this episode of Rod Rosenstein's speech yesterday to a private group. One is that he's openly criticizing the Obama administration and this fairly new issue. A lot of Americans don't know about this, but absolutely the Obama administration was aware about this situation of attempted Russian hacking. It's frankly something that Russians and other foreign governments have tried to do before every election, so they should have been aware of it and trying to protect our country from that. They didn't. And now nobody's talking about it. But, Mr. Rosenstein himself has his own motives. He is under attack from both sides, and including a lot of Republican attack for the allegations that he wanted to wear a wire against the president, appointing Comey, his buddy in the first place, this whole hysteria of this investigation that should never have occurred. So he's under a lot of attack. Maybe he's trying to change the subject.
But the point, the real core issue we don't want to lose sight of is the fact that this witch hunt that's been going on for 2 years, preventing, I mean, as much as has been accomplished by the Trump administration, imagine if they didn't have to every day deal with this that has been going on, the monkey on their back, which was Robert Mueller. Yep. It wasn't in order to find out what the Russians are doing because the Obama administration knew what the Russians were doing.
Well, there's that, and then there's also the fact that the Russians appear to have accomplished their goal. If their goal was to disrupt the American government, they did that with the tacit approval of a prior government that didn't do its job to protect our electorate and protect the American people.
But the goal of the Russia investigation from the get-go was not to figure out what the Russians were doing. The goal clearly was trying to bring down the Trump administration. And even before it became an administration, trying to keep him out of the White House.
Right. And so back to your earlier point about Brennan and, let's add in Clapper and others. In my opinion, the word coup is absolutely the correct word. There was an attempted coup against this government, this duly elected president. It failed, and now the rats are scampering away when the sunlight is being shown on them.
Harmeet, great to see you. Thank you very much for coming in. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.